So, you want to know how to improve your arena in Terraria 1.4? Well, you've come to the right place. Today, I'm going to be showing you some tips and tricks on how to improve your arena and make boss fights much easier. So without further ado, let's get straight into tip number 1. So, for the first tip, I recommend using heart and star statues in order to maintain a high health and mana whilst fighting difficult bosses. You will need to use wires to link up a timer to the statues. When doing so, the statues will spawn hearts and mana stars, which when they are picked up by the player, they will replenish a decent amount of health and mana, reducing the amount of potions you need to consume during the boss fights. Personally, when I build a boss arena, I always make sure to include this tip, as it's one of the best additions you can add to your Terraria arena. Now, on to the second tip, and this is to use heart lanterns and the star bottle. The star bottle can be hung from a solid block, like chandeliers. It provides the player with a mana regeneration buff, and supplies you with 2 extra mana per second. This can also be set as 1 star every 10 seconds. The heart lantern works in a similar way to the star in a bottle, but gives you a health regeneration buff, which provides you with an extra 1 health per second, or better known as 1 heart every 20 seconds. The next tip is to use a bar statue in your arena, as this can increase your defense points by 5. Alongside the bar statue, I recommend placing sunflowers at regular intervals along your arena, as this will increase your movement speed by 10%, as well as a 17% decrease to enemy spawn rate. Using banners around your arena can help you quickly deal with those annoying enemies who try to kill you in the middle of a difficult boss fight. Banners significantly increase the damage you are able to inflict on enemies, and their attacks also do significantly less damage to you in return. A banner is dropped for every 50 kills you get on the same enemy. For example, 50 blue slime kills will grant you with a blue slime banner, which will reduce the damage you take from them and increase the damage you are able to do to them. Using campfires and honey in your arena can really help with your health regeneration, especially if you're using heart lanterns along with them. When within close proximity to a campfire, you will receive a 10% bonus to regeneration, and on top of this, you will gain an extra 0.5 health per second. Honey acts in a similar way to the other regeneration buffs, but for this one, you will have to touch the honey in order for the buff to set in. You will need 2 blocks worth of honey, in which you can quickly run through when in need in some health regeneration. The honey buff supplies you with an extra 1 hit point per second, and increases the standard regeneration rate by a factor of 3. This buff will also decrease the damage you take from other life-draining debuffs, such as on fire and poison, by 2 hit points per second. Another good idea that I believe you should consider is using the bewitching table, ammo box, sharpening station and the crystal ball. All of these furniture items, depending on the class and weapons you are using, will greatly increase your overall effectiveness when using that class. The bewitching table grants you with the ability to summon 1 extra minion, meaning that you are able to increase your damage output and in turn have a higher chance of surviving and being able to kill enemies and bosses faster. The ammo box can be placed on the ground, and when used, will give your character a 20% chance not to consume ammo, meaning that you will not need to use as much ammunition when fighting bosses or when encountering enemies. The sharpening station is another good item to use in your arena. When used, it applies the sharpened buff to your character, which increases your armor penetration when using any melee weapon. Now, onto the last furniture item, and that is the crystal ball. When used, your character gains 1 extra star of mana, plus 5% magic damage, plus 2% magic critical strike chance, and minus 2% mana usage. The next tip is to use asphalt blocks in your arena if you don't use platforms. Asphalt is best suited to use in boss arenas which feature a straight line to run on, rather than the multi-layer design. This special block can be used to significantly increase a player's running speed, meaning that you can even outrun some bosses. This can be very useful for avoiding attacks or to escape if you need a second to recover your health. The only downside of using asphalt is that you can't jump through like you can with platforms. Another cool tip is to keep the Dryad and the Nurse nearby, as the Dryad can boost your defense in times that you may need it most, and the Nurse can provide your character with healing, but it's a little pricey in the version 1.4. I recommend housing these NPCs near your arena, but don't house them too close, as they may get hit by the attacks of the bosses. If you keep getting interrupted by enemies in the middle of boss fights, then I recommend using a peace candle, as this reduces the enemy spawn rate by 23%. The peace candle works great in partner with sunflowers, and when used together, the enemy spawn rate will be significantly reduced. Linking in with enemies, the next tip is to not build your arena too high, as this can lead to harpies and wyvern spawning, which are capable of ruining your boss fight. So, now onto the last tip, and this is to use the cake from the party girl. When used, the player gains an extra 20% speed to both movement speed and mining. If you did enjoy this video, please like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a future upload. I hope you found some use out of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.